Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Hello! Welcome back to another episode. So this one kind of picks up sort of from the macro photography one. Not really sure what I'm going to be calling that episode. As you can tell, yes, to answer your question, I am filming in the same day. It's basically sort of in a roundabout way, kind of like an hour after I filmed the macro photography one. So, that was something I wanted to talk about, but also too, I really want to sort of or basically talk about why I think the long range lenses like this one that I have in my hand. This is a Nikon 55 to 200 lens. It doesn't say what the f-stop is, so I'm not really too sure on this one. It's an f-mount. I have two cameras. I have a Nikon and a Sony. The Nikon I bought a long time ago when I was first beginning photography. It's the Nikon D3200. It has gotten me through a lot. Weddings, birthdays, events, portraits, all kinds of stuff. Just playing around, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's gotten me through quite a bit. I've used it a lot. I've used it for a lot of different things, so that's pretty cool. And then the Sony A7 III, it's a mirrorless. It's your perfect hybrid camera. So if you're listening or if you're watching, and if you're trying to look for your perfect hybrid camera where you can bounce between photography and videography, the Sony A7 III is perfect. So a few years ago, I was in the market for a mirrorless camera, and I really wanted to make the leap. And, I was really excited, and I was trying to save money and stuff like that. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go with Sony because I looked at all the different, manufacturers out there, I guess, camera-wise. All the different brands. There you go. That's the words I was looking for. And I was going to stick with Nikon just because I have a few lenses. But I really wanted to go with Sony. So, like I said, I did a lot of research. If you're in the market for your first camera or if you just want a new camera, best advice that I can give anybody is to just sit down, take some time, sit down, look. I would think of like maybe a handful of brands that really interest you and then just do some research. That's what I did. I first started with Nikon. Not gonna lie, they kind of let me down as far as the mirrorless cameras go. Maybe they have one out now that's pretty cool, but when I was looking probably close to almost 5 years ago, I was just like, man, what a letdown. But then I stumbled on Sony. So Sony, I don't know. it checked all the boxes that I wanted it to, and that's something else that you will have to know if, if you're in the market. But anyways, I don't want to get too off subject. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about why the long range lenses like this one are, I think, really underrated. So, yeah, grab you a cup of coffee or whatever drink or snack you like, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, again, if you are in the market for a camera, I'm sure a lot of you have stumbled upon kits and stuff like that, or creator bundles, or whatever you want to call it. But basically, usually, if you buy a kit, I know back in the day when I bought my Nikon, it was a great bundle. It was a big bundle. It came with the camera body. It came with 2 lenses. It came with, I think, the camera bag that I have. Recently, my other half bought me a little backpack. So now I have a little backpack. And I think I can carry up to 2 cameras, I think. Anyways, so yeah, it came with quite a bit of different things. Whereas nowadays, I've seen the kits, or what they're calling kits, especially for Sony. If anybody's watching from Sony, which I highly doubt, I think where you guys could get better at is the kits. Because I spent, I think it was like $2,000 or so on the Sony body and 1 lens, and that's what they were calling a bundle. Granted, the lens that it came with was this one, the 28 to 70 lens. So yeah, I mean, again, a great lens. I'm not going to bash them too much, but I think the kits nowadays could be a little better. Now, if you're looking at something like the DJI, where you're probably just going to be doing a lot more video, because I highly doubt you're going to be buying a DJI to do photography with. It's a pretty good kit, honestly. So, but anyways, get back on subject. The reason why I think this lens is highly underrated is because it's very versatile. So, what I mean by that is you can do anything from portraits to landscape to, I don't know, sort of like a crossover to macro photography, depending on, how much range you have to play with. That's really the downfall of this lens. The downfall, I will say, is the range. Like if you're in close quarters and you don't really have that much room to work with, yeah, you're going to need a wider angle lens, But if you're outside and you're just, maybe doing some portraits, or, you've got some range to play with, some room to play with, then yeah, this is an awesome lens. Like, if I can find the photo, I think it's on my Instagram. Which, again, like I said in my macro photography episode, if you're interested or anything like that, you can check out all the links in the show notes or the description below. You can follow me on social media and stuff like that. And also be sure to subscribe and like this video, because it actually does help Share if you can, kind of if this video resonated with you or if you found it helpful, please share it with someone who, maybe they're into photography or maybe they're just getting started or maybe they're looking for some lenses that they want to buy and they're on the fence, then, send it their way. I will say I've gotten a lot of awesome support, and I really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you to everybody all at once. Everybody that continues to come back and support and like and do all the things, share and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. But to get back on subject, so yeah, the kit that I bought a long time ago, probably back in 2011, I believe it was. I think it was like March or so of 2011. I paid close to $900 for my Nikon bundle, the little kit, and at the time, I was just getting started, so I didn't really know what I was getting into. Fast forward till like 5 to almost 10 years after 2011. So 2021, somewhere around there. I think I was on YouTube or maybe doing some kind of research. I can't really remember exactly what I was doing. But I remembered seeing I think on somebody's video, somebody commented that these lenses are trash, that you shouldn't use them, they're not good, the quality is trash, and all this other stuff, like completely bashing the stuff that comes in the kit. And I remember that still to this day because I just remember thinking, well, if you think it's trash, then don't buy the bundle. But let me just tell you, if you don't buy the bundle and you buy your camera and 3 lenses, guess what? Depending on the lenses, you're going to be breaking the bank. And this lens, yeah, it might not be like super duper great quality or anything like that, but let me tell you, number one, the bundle that I bought was really a bang for the buck, and I didn't know it then, but I know now that this lens, along with the other lens is okay. The other lens is just your typical 18 to 55 millimeter. It gives you an okay range, but it's kind of like this one. Like, okay, Sony gives you, I think they give you this one, 28 to 70. It's okay. It gives you an okay range to play with. But the reason why I like this one so much is because you have that big jump between 55 to 200 millimeters. And really what you're doing is this is the perfect lens for, let's say you want to do sort of like a macro photography. You can do that with this lens. You can put on an extension or some kind of adapter or one of those magnifiers on the end, and you can really do some pretty cool stuff with it. I did portraits with it because I was at a park. I had a really good range that I could play with, like a lot of room to play with. And, I was kind of sort of messing around while doing these portraits. And let me tell you, I got some really great quality images out of this lens. And honestly, it really amazed me. And like I said, if I can actually, I think the photos I'm talking about is on my Instagram. So, like I said, go to the show notes, go to the description. You'll kind of have to scroll a minute. But I'll try to include that in here on this video, so that way you don't have to do that. Plus, you wouldn't really know what to look for. So, yes, this lens is not trash. Still to this day, this lens is amazing. Like I said, it offers a wide range, very versatile. Um, People, these days are all about prime lenses and trying to get the best quality lenses and stuff like that. And honestly, people, like, you just need to stop, like, going along with what everybody else does and, you know, kind of walk off the beaten path, per se. So, my bit of advice to whether it's you that's watching or listening, do your own thing. Uh, Mess around with photography a bit, mess up, fail. That's where you're able to really learn. Just get out there and shoot and mess around with the gear that you've got. If I'm sure a lot of people out there might have a lens or two that maybe they don't use that much of. And, maybe instead of using your 85 millimeter like you always do, use your long range lens. Um, like I said, you can do anything from landscape, macro. You can do somewhat of a wildlife. You kind of need a wider range, a longer range for that. But yeah, I mean, I would say the downfall of the long range lenses, and lenses like that, is the longer range you go, you're gonna deal with some weight. So it might weigh a little bit. Like if you are wanting to do wildlife photography, you're gonna need a good long range lens, and let me tell you, that's where the money, that's where you start to get pricey because it's just because of how the lens is made. Usually it's almost like putting two lenses together in a roundabout way. So yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, but that's basically it. I think that's really all I wanted to say. I mean, I was very amazed at the quality and the look. Like you get kind of like a dreamy background. Like if you use this lens for portraits or whatever, the background looks amazing. You get the bokeh effect. It's very dreamy and soft. You also kind of get like a cinematic sort of look in a roundabout way. Now, if you're filming, it would be interesting to film with this lens again, provided that you do have room to work with. Obviously, the downfall is the weight of these lenses, especially if you are carrying multiple cameras and you've got multiple lenses and you don't have that much room to work with, then yeah, that's the downfall right there, is what I would say. So, other than that, also this lens is either called long range lens. What else? Telephoto lens. I think that's about it. I think that's all the names that I've heard it be called. But anyways, that's I think it's underrated. Seriously, like all the I guess everybody that I see, they're all the time like, "Oh, prime lenses and a film type of lens and stuff like that. All of that is great. And yeah, I mean, I'm using an 85 millimeter as we're speaking, so to film this. So, and I have other prime lenses. And I'm not saying that, oh, you should only use a long range telephoto lens. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you have one, use it the next time you go out shooting. That's my homework or like bit of advice to you listening or watching. Take it out the next time you go shooting and you'll be amazed. Truly. You have a lot of creative freedom with it. And it also, you can either be really creative with it or you can be really precise with it. So, and also, too, if you're doing portraits, you don't have to be like all up on the person or people that you're taking a photo of. Like, if you're doing a couple, they could literally be, I don't know, way over there and you're way back here. And they can kind of feel like, okay, I've got some breathing room. We can kind of be ourselves and stuff like that. So, yeah, like you don't have to necessarily be way up on the subject that you're taking photos for. Trying to look at my bullet points here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, I don't think I'm really missing anything. But I guess the takeaway here and the bottom line is that it kind of makes you think of photography in a different way. So instead of doing your typical cookie cutter, stuff, be innovative. Be innovative with what you have, and believe me, you'll be amazed. So, I guess that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and end this here before it gets any longer. I think this is a good amount. So, yeah, like I said, if you found this helpful, please share it with someone in your life who needs it, or like I said, maybe they're just starting out in photography, or if you found this informative and, interesting, share it. But until next time, I will see you all in my next episode. And yeah, hope everybody has a great day. Bye.